Hey, everybody. What's up? Welcome to COTW TV, where we have the young and the fearless, where it says we are next, not that we have next, but we are next. I am Yehukanan Ben Yah, and I will be hosting tonight with these wonderful young people that we have here on stage. Would you like to come off mic and briefly introduce yourself? We have quite a bit of them.
Hi, I'm Shandoa Woods.
That is one of the daughters of our elder Suka Ben Maccabees. She is joining us tonight to talk about this fun topic. Who's next?
Yeah, I'm Tunasia and my husband.
My name is Brown.
Tanasia and Q Brown, one of our married couples, one of our young married couples that frequent with us, that fellowship with us. Go ahead. Who's next?
Over here, this is Gene, the Maury's son over here. So, what's up, guys?
My man 4-3. He probably had to tell you the story behind that nickname. He's had a nickname ever since he was like 3 or 4 years old for me. And not talking about his height, but yeah. Who's next?
My name is Brianna. Hey, family.
Brianna. Hey, family. Also the daughter of the Moray. See, is this what we doing? Everybody's trying to tell me to turn the border off, and I don't know what I'm doing. Where do I turn the border off at? Let's see. Is this how you do it? I don't want to delete it. Okay. Maybe somebody help me. Do we have anybody else that's going to introduce themselves? That's it. We got everybody? Do we have everybody that's in backstage? Let me see. I see Imani. Go ahead, Imani. Introduce yourself.
Sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hey, you guys. There's three of us here, but the first one is me. My name's Mani. I'm Yehokanan's oldest daughter. Happy to be here tonight. Benya. Sorry, I don't know. I didn't know what to say.
You said enough. You said enough.
Yo, what's good, y'all? I'm LaShawn Jr., aka Yehokanan Ben Yah's son, the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Asia. I'm Yehokanan Ben Yah's second child.
Oh, praises. And I believe we have one more.
Hi, I'm Jalen McNeil.
I'm Kai McNeil. We're McNeiling it together.
Together.
You say y'all McNeiling it together?
McNeiling it.
I like it. Hold on real quick. This will be real brief. We got a little technical thing that Moray will briefly come up and deal with. Then he'll probably leave. Hey, Moray, thank you. You asked me to do something I really don't know what I'm doing. With that being said, what we're doing this evening, we're going to be talking about an interesting topic in Israel. I thoroughly enjoy this topic. I was wondering if when we were going to get to this topic, I thought it'd be something that we would talk about later, but the young people actually wanted to talk about it sooner. You know, the first time we were before you all, we talked about basically being young and in the truth. Then we talked about discipleship and, in a sense, what that looks like in the truth. But this week, it's going to be a very interesting topic because now the young people want to talk about dating. That's really a hot button topic. Not only is it a hot button topic for young people, it's a hot button topic for adults because what does being in the truth and the aspect of dating, whether those we have an interesting eclectic perspective here, but we have some who have already dated and have found their mate, their spouse. They'll be bringing that perspective, and we still have some that are, wanting to talk from a single parent perspective. We have some that are talking from a male and female perspective as far as what dating looks like and in the truth. And of course, as a dad, uncle, elder to all of these, I love them dearly. I reserve the right to maybe interject my perspective every now and then, but I really want to definitely hear things from their perspective. With that being said, we are a biblical-based group. We believe in the scriptures. We believe in the word of the Most High. And so with that being said, I do have a couple verses to lay down the foundation of our conversation tonight and what we are talking about and the premise from what we're talking about. And so these are some challenges that some of our young people have faced, are facing, currently dealing with, or have overcome or still in the process of overcoming. But we want to make sure that we always deal and operate from the standpoint of the scriptures. The first scripture, the first verse is 2 Timothy 2:22, where it says, "Flee also youthful lusts, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace, with them that call on the Most High out of a pure heart." Out of a pure heart. And lastly, speaking of the transition, some on this panel have already made that transition. Some on this panel are in the process or desiring to make that transition from being a single young adult to one day finding that husband or wife. And so with that being said, Proverbs 18:22, and it states, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor with the Most High." So operating from those two frame of thoughts, and there's plenty of other scriptures that may come up in the context of the conversation tonight, but we want to start off with a basic foundation from there. That being said, we have some people in the chat. We thank you for coming and joining us tonight. We have Zay, which is the big sister, one of the older children of Sukkah Maccabees. Welcome, Zay in the house. We got Sister Miriam. Welcome, Sister Miriam Israel. She's definitely in the house. The big homie G-Ak, my big brother Sukkah, who was coming to support the young people. He's a fan of the young people just as well as I am. And he's definitely in the house. And he's listening in, seeing what his daughter is probably going to talk about tonight. So definitely probably has some feedback from his part, either to her privately or maybe here on stage. But with that being said, we're going to have an interesting and a fun dialogue, and I believe that will be something that will edify you all. So I thank you all, and I don't know. Oh, okay, we got Sister Tasha who's in the house. Shalom to Sister Tasha, is definitely in the building. Welcome, Sister Tasha. I believe we got everybody that's here, that's on stage, and we're just going to jump right into this thing because we have an eclectic group. I don't know who wants to go first as far as dating from their perspective, and what do you all have a thought or questions or even feedback as far as even the two verses that I put out? Oh, we're nervous. Don't get shy now. Okay, maybe I'll just go ahead and start, kind of maybe break the ice. I know for me growing up, dating from a not even a Hebraic standpoint or in the true standpoint, dating was something that was looked at as taboo. I will say taboo from a sense when you had, like, I had a holiness grandmother, and she was one that would really talk about fleeing fornication. Like, she was one of those that didn't like make excuses, didn't tolerate, in a sense, sin. I will say that my father was one that he was more flexible. His understanding may have not have been where it needed to be to advise me on, even when we talk about from a male standpoint, the need to keep yourself, the need to keep your body, etc. And so, with that being said, there was an already presupposition that I was going to do what most young men that are hormonal and developing would do. And so, based on that, there were many instances where it was looked at, well, if you do this, make sure you protect yourself, no babies in high school, etc., this, that, and the third. And so, when you talk about what sexuality and things of that nature means to a young man, I never looked at it with the understanding and seriousness that I look at it as a father, especially when you talk about raising a young man in the word, raising a young man in the truth, and now trying to maybe correct some things with my son that was not exactly, hammered home with me as far as understanding, even when you talk about a young man. How important do you, as a young man, we'll go to the young men first. How important do you feel it is for you as young men on this panel to wait for your wife, to wait and keep yourself, to not have so many notches on the belt?
I, can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead and say your name, whoever's
Oh,
talking.
this is Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just I guess to answer your question, I guess me growing up, and not being in the truth, I guess from my perspective, um, I don't know, I kind of always had that about me in general. I think because just what my parents kind of instilled in me, and how to treat women and not to say. I'm trying to get where I'm going with it, but I think it's important because once that notch is added to the belt, it can't be unloosened, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. So you really uh surrender a lot of your like a lot of that intimacy that you would have with your wife, or that you surrender a lot of the your innocence in a sense, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
you aren't able to really um enjoy it like you should, and in doing it also glorifying the Father. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's kind of where I stand on it.
Mm-hmm. I love that you offer a unique perspective because I, I mean, I have to agree with you. I feel like, even though, the word talks about if any man be in Christ, that he is a new creature and things of that mindset. But at the same time, it's like you never really get that back. And so, from a male standpoint, I can see where you're coming from. Will any of you other young men care to add to what Brother Kai said?
Yeah, from my perspective, like growing up, I like it was like the importance was to keep yourself was like very much like stressed upon, and like as I got older, I'm like, like I'll do it for them. I'll do it for, my parents, I'll do it because, our grandmother was very much like, high on that. But, like once I got older and I started to honestly see the value in keeping myself, I think I started doing it for myself and, you know, start to understand because I'm like, oh man, like, like I see some of, boys I came up with, they out here, they doing their 1-2 and go learning and then like seeing how they, they was like, man, like I can't stop doing, what I'm doing. So I'm like, dang, that kind of sucks, that the fact that they can't get out of that cycle, and then sometimes they don't even know what to necessarily look for when they got older or what they wanted because they was had too many notches in their belt. So sometimes they would be like, bro, don't even go. They would tell me don't even go with this. So once I started seeing the value in it for myself, I started to understand it more. As for when I was a kid, I would just do it because that was very much taboo, not to do
Mhm.
things like that.
Any other young men who care to add to that? If not, what about from a lady standpoint when you talk about? And I know that we have some other talking points that we want to get into. I just figured we would just lead into these talking points because you're right. We start single, and then starting single, then we transition into the marriage, which is why we went with the Second Timothy verse, where it says to flee fornication, which there's deeper understanding to that. But initially, when you talk about being young, we're talking about Paul, who was talking to a young man that's young and in the truth, young and in, but yet understanding his role in the kingdom. This is what he's dealing with at this time, a very sexually charged time frame, very sexually expressive time frame, but yet he's being told keep himself. With that being said, is there a female that would care to offer a perspective from that, as far as uh the challenges, the difficulty, or what it is that a lady would face during this time in keeping herself?
I'll weigh in. This is Tanasia. Um, for me, it was kind of hard, but I can see it not being as hard as somebody who's already opened that door. But as for keeping myself, to be quite honest with you, I was scared. I was scared. I was scared of what my mom would do to me. I was scared of what my grandma would do to me. They terrified me to the point. But where it really got rough around was when, all your friends are doing it and everybody else is doing it. It's kind of like, okay, now you feel the peer pressure. But if you're
Mhm.
like strong willed, you kind of can get yourself under control. But that was my thing. I was mostly scared of what would happen after.
Mhm. Mhm. So when we're talking about this aspect of keeping ourselves, are we keeping ourselves in desire to maybe one day share this experience with someone that you love, someone that you have a connection, that you develop a true and genuine connection with? What is the impetus or the motivation behind you all and your desire to walk and live from a sanctified mindset to this transition into desiring to actually be married and have your own families one day? Did the question make sense, or do I need to?
Can you repeat the question a little bit?
In other words, you guys, all of you guys have started single. All of you guys have started young and single, and whatever your motivations were, they were different. Tenasia's, she said that she was scared. Sean said, he it was hammered into him at first, and then it was something that he wanted to do for himself. Kai, talked about it from a perspective of wishing that he had the understanding coming in so that he could share something special with the one that he felt was deserving. And I agreed with him from that standpoint, because that's how I felt. I felt like if I was better off waiting. I would have loved to have waited and shared that first time with my wife. When you talk about like coming into this, do you keep yourself with the mindset of one day I want to be married and share this moment with this special person? Or what is your mindset as far as why you would keep yourself?
Um, this is Brianna.
Hey,
To
Brianna.
answer, hey, Sean. To answer that question, well, for me personally, my reasoning is because I I am scared because I went through a traumatizing experience by fornicating and then got pregnant, and then that scared me as to like I don't ever want to go through that again.
Mhm.
So for me, that's my biggest motivation is I don't want to have another kid by another man and then not be married to that man. So
Mhm.
that was my experience for that.
Mhm. Yeah, you would. Go
For
ahead.
me, oh, this is Nasia again. Like how Sean was saying, as you get older, your priorities, like you look at it a different way. From the being younger and it being like kind of beating your head, not to do that, not to do that, keep yourself. What they used to say is like that's the most valuable thing you have as a woman and stuff. And as I got older, probably around 18, 19. That's when my thoughts of it shifted, because it's kind of like, I've waited this long. Why wouldn't I wait for my husband? I'm sorry, it's my son. I was like, why wouldn't I wait for my husband and wait till I'm married? It's kind of like, I've come this far. It'd be kind of redundant to not see it through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyone that's good to share?
I'll go. This is Jalen.
Hey,
Um,
Jalen.
hey, Uncle Sean. Um, I'm gonna keep it real. I did not keep myself even before I got married, so I can't. I can say why I think it's important because at the time, it was mostly talked about in our family about keeping ourselves, but everybody outside of our family, like school peers and stuff like that, was doing it. So it kind of drowned it out the importance of keeping yourself. But now that I am married, I 100% wish I would have kept myself because I now understand what it's like to share that intimacy of being a virgin with my husband in marriage, because I know for myself, like I have a lot of baggage on me from previous relationships that,
Mm,
through deliverance, I have to let go of for multiple different reasons. But sometimes the experiences overcrowd my thoughts sometimes, or something in remembrance may come back to me that I don't wish to happen, but happens because I
mhm,
have that experience.
mm,
Um, and I did not happen to get pregnant outside of marriage, but I can only imagine how it's hard now, and he's my husband. So I can
mm,
only imagine how it would have been had I been a single mom with my kids as well. So it's very important. It's much more intimate. It's personal, and even though you lose that purity when when you lose your virginity, I think it's much more precious when it's with the man that you hopefully will spend the rest of your life with. So I feel like that's a big reason why keeping yourself until marriage is very, very important.
mm. And so you guys have been very transparent, very honest as far as some of your life choices, life experiences, and I respect and appreciate that. We won't even try to delve deeper into that because there's a lot of people that deal with that, have gone through that, and you guys have offered a unique perspective, a unique insight. But let me ask you guys this, because you guys, especially some of you that are on this panel, you guys have made an interesting transition when you talk about being single, young and in the truth. You had, a praying grandmother. You had parents that were, we were trying to live correctly and right before your sight and things of that nature. We believe in the word. We were stern. I will admit we were stern. But at the same time, you guys have made an interesting transition. You guys are all young adults. Some of you are closer to 30, etc. Let me ask you this. Sister Miriam's getting into something deep. We're going to have to come back to that. I'm glad that you brought that up. I want to come back to that and see if there's something that we could talk about with that. But with that being said, how long did you all want to wait before you decided to get married? Like before marriage came real to you?
Wait, I don't understand.
So you guys are all started out single, correct?
Yes, sir.
How long did you wait before you decided to get married? Because you all went through your dating process, your single time, your single space, and then all of a sudden, a few of you have gotten married that are within the family. I know that there was another young couple, they had to cancel on us tonight, but even they were talking about. I mean, they got married at a young age. I know me and your aunt Tamika, we got married at a young age. Moray and Murad, they got married at young ages. What was this like for you guys to transition from being single to now all of a sudden, you know what? I decide I want to pursue marriage.
So I'm guessing this is just for the married couple. So Nasia and Q and Jalen and Kai, this is y'all's category.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we'll go first. Jalen and Kai. For me, I waited a year, almost to the day, I got married 8 days after my 1 year anniversary to Kai. Um, it was a lot of factors that played into it, but when I met him, something clicked in my brain. I can't really put into words at this exact moment, but I just knew that I wanted him for the rest of my life. Like I just knew, and I was only 20 years old. I got married when I was 20. I'm now 24.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I knew that I wanted to marry him. And my mind opened up to stability because I had, dated about two or three guys from 18 to 20. And I quickly realized that I did not fit in that category of, dating, breaking up, dating, breaking up, dating, breaking up. I already had like a way with relationships. I had to have a specific type of guy. So when I met Kai, I just knew I didn't want to look anymore. And I know, a man's supposed to find a wife, but I knew he was for me. Like I knew it. I had to have him. And so a year later, we got married.
That should make you feel all buttery inside, Kai.
A little bit, a little bit.
Oh
Little
God.
bit.
Now we McNailing it. Let us know if you feeling
All right, chill out.
McNailing it. Loving it. Go ahead, Kai.
I think where the transition came, and I can say this first and foremost, the feeling was mutual, right? So I already knew, like, in my head, this is the person that I'm gonna be with. I don't foresee anything else, and in that, I felt like I found the one, and the things that I felt made her the one. Number one was her mindset,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just not being of the world, right? Like being of what you'll see nowadays with the YNs and the bad Bs or
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
and
Lord.
right and for us that had only been she was 20, I was 22. I just turned 22 a couple months before we got married. Um I think that we both kind of um the way that we are, dang, how do I put it? You know what I'm talking about. But the way that we both are, like, the things that we mean to our own family are kind of the same, right? So
hmm
like we're both the oldest sibling, and we kind of both hold that, like, so we like understand that we're leading by example. So when I chose, or I made the decision to get married, I knew that this would trickle down to the people that are looking up to me,
Mm-hmm.
and the same goes for her, I believe.
hmm
So not to say, oh, I wanted to get married so I could stun on my siblings,
Oh my God.
but I knew that this would be a major thing, and also understanding what marriage meant, right? So like when I was that age, when I was 2021, like understood what marriage is from the legal standpoint or from the world's vision, and I didn't really understand what marriage is really about. And
Mm-hmm.
once you actually find that in scripture, um, then my decision was made. I'm like, okay, well, this is perfect. Once we kind of broke out of the norms of what a wedding is, right? Like, oh, we want to have 5,000 people at the wedding. We got to spend $200,000 on the wedding, and so on and so forth. Once we broke it down to, like, we're getting married because we want to be one with the Father. We want to be one with each other.
Yes.
That's what, I don't want to say it sold me, but that's what got me over the hump of thinking about marriage from the world standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and going ahead and making that decision. Mind you, this was the pandemic, right? So like,
Maybe you're dragging it.
No, he's fine. Hey, Jalen, stop.
she be talking like we're not sitting in between the
Oh,
mic.
I keep forgetting. I be thinking I'm whispering.
Hey, let that man cook.
Right, my bad. Go ahead, baby. Let him know.
But yeah, mind you, this was the pandemic, so it wasn't even easy to get married at this time.
Mm-hmm.
There, you couldn't even have 10 people in one room.
We couldn't even get married in California, mind you. We had to go to Vegas to get married.
Mm.
Yeah, we
Yes,
had to go to
we
Vegas.
had to go to Vegas.
All the buildings, or the court buildings,
They
in
were
our
not
they
doing
were
any
yeah, they
marriages.
were shut down
Wow.
basically. So we had to go to Vegas, and thankfully Vegas made it a super easy process.
It was,
It
yeah.
was a one-stop shop. But we got what we wanted to get done, and having the support of our families was super important as well. I felt kind of nervous at first as well. I didn't know what like my parents would think. I didn't know. I initially I was kind of like afraid, but once like I realized what I was doing it for, it only encouraged me more, and then that only brought back positivity from my family and the people that was around me, and they surrounded us with love and support. So that meant a lot to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of yield with that
Okay.
because I feel like I am a little dragging it on a little bit. So I'll wait for the next question.
If you feel that way, that's fine. But to me, I thought it was a good story. I love the background behind it. I'm a sucker for love. So yeah, don't mind me. Hey, if you were dragging it, I'll let you know. But I didn't think you were dragging it. But Sister Tasha thought it was beautiful. She also hit us with a precept. Of course,
I don't
Sister
think you were
Tasha.
dragging it either. It was really cute.
See, Jalen.
Oh,
Let that man cook. Let that man cook. You married a good man.
so we're
Says Proverbs
McNilvin
5
and
and
y'all
18.
feeling it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Proverbs 5 and 18 say, let thy fountain be blessed. It's to you, Kai. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Beautiful precept, Sister Tasha. Beautiful precept.
Thank you,
That
Sister
being
Tasha.
said, would the Browns, as a married couple, care to add anything to that as far as, because I know you both, it was your journey towards marriage was definitely interesting, a funny journey at that time too. Uh, like when you talk about the length of time, the dating, the getting to know each other, how long did you feel like it was a good time for you guys to wait before you guys actually got married?
So it was yeah.
Say your name. Say your name
Oh,
before you get to rambling.
this is Q.
Q.
And so me and Asia we dated like for a year before we decided
Can
to
you
get
repeat the
married.
question, or is it still for the married couples?
I mean, yeah. The question is, how long did you wait before you decided to get married? Basically,
Oh, okay, we're still on the subject. Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
So it was so me and Asia dated for like a year, and what am I trying to say? It was I met Asia at like at my job at HEB, and it was crazy because
Nisha, Q, y'all there?
like hello, what you say?
They're talking, Natty.
I can't hear nothing, bro. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going
Oh, can you, Tanata, can you might have to go out and come back in? Cause
on. Okay.
yeah, for some reason they can't hear Q, but we can hear Q.
Like can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yes.
Q. Go
Oh
ahead, young man.
yeah, it was about we dated for almost a year, and then we got married after that, and
Hmm.
I just kind of felt like Nasia was the one for me because we kind of had like the same traits. We was both goofy and you know, and I kind of I really didn't know that me and Nasia was going to get married. Like it was to me, I just thought it was going to be like another girlfriend because I came from dating like um I'd probably say like older woman before I met Nasia,
Hmm.
and yeah, Nasia was just, I don't know, she was just everything to me. Oh, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, it was like, yeah.
Well, if you don't know what to say, you don't even have to drag it.
Midnight.
Right. Does there anything you want to add to that, Nasia?
Um, yeah, when I it was funny because I'm a Q at the grocery store. When I had seen him, I didn't tell all my cousins about the cute boy that worked at HEB, and I
I
told them
remember hearing about him.
I told them that was gonna be my husband. I don't know. I knew. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. When I looked at him, I kind of knew because Q was my first ever like official serious boyfriend that I had. You know, I didn't do a lot of dating like that. So I don't know. When I met him, it kind of like I guess it kind of clicked. There was I prayed about it because there was some changes I had to make and everything, and it seemed like the Most High just presented him to me on a platter. Everything that I had asked for at the time. So yeah.
Oh, praises. Well, let me ask y'all this, and I think this is a question that everybody can participate in, unless there was something that everybody wanted to add, anybody else wanted to add to that. I have a question I think everybody can participate in. I want to know, you guys are, been raised up in our family, and you guys hear the scriptures, you guys hear the words, the admonishments, the warnings, etc. But you guys have this natural God-given desire for companionship. Let me ask y'all this. What are some of the hardships that you face in the dating phase? And it could be the fact that you guys were raised in this family. That could be a hardship to you because y'all know where we stand with stuff.
Can I answer first?
No, you can't. No, go ahead.
For me, and when I was serious about like dating, like dating Q and everything,
Hmm.
it was hard for me to let him take the lead on some things and be a man about some things. And it
Mm.
comes from me being so independent. It was hard. Like seeing my mom be a single mom of 5 kids, I kind of felt like at first I felt like my independence was being taken, and I had to get over that, especially if
Hmm.
I wanted him to be my husband. So it took it was struggling for me to let him even do like simple stuff for me and buy me stuff. It was hard for me to, I had the mindset of, I'll get it myself, I'll do it myself, and it was difficult for me to change that, having that mindset.
Mm. Background. Background, huh? Anyone else care to jump in when you talk about hardships that you face in the dating phase? Anyone?
For me, I feel like
Who was me?
oh, Brianna, sorry.
Go ahead. Hmm.
A lot of
Sally,
uh,
sit down.
what? I feel like damn, I lost train of thought. A lot of men, they're so used to women who are, very masculine, and they a lot of women like to how am I trying to say, like, take charge, and they're not as like they're not feminine. Um, they don't have certain things, like as Ty said, like the bad B's and the YNs. It's like a lot of men aren't used to women how we were raised. So I
Hmm.
find it hard. Like some men can't accept that, and then they'll mistreat you or do all kind of
Hmm.
things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like that is a hardship as well, because a lot of men don't know how to actually take care of a woman like how
Mm.
we're raised.
So take care of a woman that's actually been raised to actually
To
submit to a man.
exactly, yes, sir.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
That, again, another context of background. Hopefully, we can explore that. Would love input from everybody on the hardships, but we got background, whether it's coming from a single parent background, or background coming from the dual home background, where you guys face different challenges, from the perception of strong women or a submissive woman, which is actually strong, but being raised to submit to a man, and he don't even know how to handle that. That's interesting. Anybody else? You talk about
Yeah,
hardships.
Maddie.
What's up, Cheeks?
Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you very good,
Yeah.
Cheeks.
I think a hardship when it comes to dating is compromising, because for me, like, I like to wear my tight clothes, and, my crop tops and stuff, but then I have to compromise for like the man I want or the man I have, because oh, he doesn't like that I dress that way, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
then on me, it's like, dang it, like, but it's all about the compromising for me, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, in a sense, your sense of independence that you have,
Exactly, exactly.
I can see that. I guess, especially in today's time where women are built and encouraged to think independently you know, instead of submitting to a head or somebody that is a covering, that would be a legit covering, a husband per se. Anybody else? Hardships. Want to hear from some men. What are some of the hardships? The ladies are coming off. What about you young men that are in hardships and dating?
This is Gene over here.
Gene.
Um, for me, since I don't do like a lot of dating, but I do see how a lot of women operate now in today's society. How like yes, I don't like since I'm single and I see women like complaining and everything how or how everyone's talking about how the independence, but they don't want to be. You don't want to have a man that does like nice things for him, like Nature said. But a lot of women nowadays are saying like, "I'm an independent woman. I can do this," and then they come back around asking for the man for help. Like I don't know where I'm trying to go with this.
You're going
I'm
to an
just putting everything
interesting
out
place
there.
with that. You're
Yeah,
very
I'm just
interesting place.
yeah, I'm just putting everything out there. I don't know if this aligns with the question,
No,
but
but that is a hardship because you'll have women that will downplay the role of a man and
yeah.
then turn around and need one.
Mm, I think that's all I gotta say for right now.
You remind me of your father. Not unless you're talking about the
So,
scripture,
Uncle
he is a
Gene.
man of few words.
So, Uncle Gene.
But you know what? But you know what? We got to applaud Gene because he took the stage. He took the
Gene
stage.
Gene.
Gene took the stage. Go ahead. Anybody else on this? The hardships of
I
dating.
have one. I would say a hardship
Oh,
because I'm Shandoa. Sorry. I
Hey,
would say a
brother.
hardship from what I've experienced, not in my relationship now, but I have a boyfriend. He's my first boyfriend out of just many situationships, but one of mine is communication and everything. I feel like a hard because I feel like people are different than you and they communicate differently. And I feel like there's a hardship for someone who's very communicative about their feelings and then one person who is not. Because I grew up in a family who's very communicative. My dad, my mom was very, and that's something I grew up upon. So meeting other people who aren't like that, but you're kind of having to compromise it, it's kind of hard because it's like, you know, do you not trust me with your feelings? Why is it so hard to be
Mm,
communicative? And
mm,
communication to me is a big thing because it's a big I feel like it should be a big thing to everybody because you want to know what your partner's feeling, you want to know all these things, you don't want to be hidden in the dark about things. But yeah,
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
for me.
And that's interesting because you one of the main complaints that women have, and this is through millennia, is men not being great communicators. Like they say we're not the best communicators. Yeah, that's interesting. We're matter of fact, in many instances, we're discouraged from really truly expressing feelings. Like for us to actually have feelings was looked upon, frowned upon, and considered to be soft. So yeah, you bring up a very key point that you have a very sensitive dad too. So that's probably something that helps you. Yeah, I said it, Sook.
Yes, very sensitive.
That dude gets struck by Cupid at any given moment. But but with that being said, that's my brother. I'm gonna make fun of him. But anybody else?
I, this is Kai, by the way. I
What up,
think that
Kai?
I think that mind you, I've been married almost as long as I've dated for, or me being grown, right? So, but I could say in my experience dating, um, prior to Jalen, really, I think a lot like women are women these days are very materialistic, and also like with being materialistic, they also kind of have the world's view, right? Like you want what you see on social media, or you want what you see from somebody else, and
Hmm.
I guess you can be very like envious, or like I can only speak for the women that I've dealt with, mind you, but
Hmm.
um, I think that plays into that, makes it that's a hardship in dating, having the competition of something that's superficial, right? Like something that is not necessarily real, or something that's not necessarily um
Something you
an
can build
actual
with.
compare, yeah, it's not, or it's
Hmm.
not doable, yeah,
Hmm.
it's not reasonable. um so I think that social media, like I said, social media has a lot to do with that.
Hmm.
But also just in general, I think it's probably, that's probably something that you might have faced back in 1953.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
He got jokes. Man, my dad wasn't even born in 53. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anybody else want to add to? We're talking about hardships. You guys are young. You guys have been raised up in the truth, in the word. You guys have had to deal with us as adults on you. Not only that, but now you're living in this current world, this current time, and you're trying to live for the Most High. What are the hardships of dating, building a relationship?
Reminds well, it was just like you said, like I guess from my standpoint is like you said, trusting somebody and letting somebody in, and also trusting them with how I feel and things of that nature. Like literally, like letting them see me, like see my layer, all the layers to who I am as a person, And sometimes that's a bit like
Mm,
scary.
mm,
It's like, oh, snap,
mm.
I have to trust that person. You feel me?
Yeah,
And in the
I
sense
do.
of like, okay, like as a man, you have to show yourself first. You have to show yourself friendly first. You gotta, and it's not necessarily to be like, like I'm gonna do this just to, no, it's not like that. But I do have to put myself out there first, in a sense to get that reciprocation and things of that nature. And it is a
Mhm.
bit scary, to have to like trust somebody and to let my walls down and let my guard down with somebody.
That is a scary proposition. Yeah, for and especially for men, and we probably get more into that later. Uh, Sister Miriam said materialism can be a sign of emotional inadequacies. Emotional inadequacies. That's yeah, yeah. That's a powerful statement, and it's very true and it's very deep because a lot of times we define ourselves, our self worth, by the things that we have, not who we are, or not understanding truly of who we are. That being said, anybody else care to talk about the hardships? We talking about not when 1953 when I was dating. We talking about in the 2025. You guys are dating, whether you're young and married. What does that look like for you guys? Hardships. Talk to me.
I'm already married, but what I've noticed in the world today is a lot of men want they want to be thugs or want to be gangsters. Like the language is horrible. Like they can't even form a sentence.
Mm,
They, pants sagging, fake chains, like just no education. Most of them are dropouts, still
mm,
living at home, and like, oh, ugh. That's what just what I've been noticing, listening from my sister and some of my
mhm,
cousins that are dating. From what I'm seeing, like nowadays, the young men today, they got their priorities are all messed up. Like they're not thinking about being husbands. They're deadbeat fathers. Some of
mm,
them don't even want to be fathers. And some of these boys have both parents at home, even with their dads in the home, but the world has just become so beautiful to them that the morals that's being instilled in them are no longer important, it seems like. And that is crazy.
mhm,
I feel like this is June again. I feel like
mm,
the hardships of dating in this society in 2025 is like I see a lot of women that's like doing a lot of unnecessary things that makes me want to be alone, like don't want to date. Because you see like a lot of women look they to be honest, some of these women out here they look like they be stinking. They look like they stink.
You are
But
your father's son.
like it's like yeah, because some of these only want you for your money or something that can get that benefits them. So when I look at that, it just makes me not to date and just want to be alone in my own bubble until I'm ready. But yeah,
Yo, I really, when I say you are your father's son, I really heard an echo when and Cheryl sees in the chat, she can definitely testify to this. When we were young, we were at Central State. It was our freshman year. They had played a video of sexually transmitted diseases, and there was some nasty looking stuff they put on that video. And so for about the next week or so, as freshmen, every time we were walking somewhere on campus, you literally heard Moray, your dad, my brother, say, "Ooh, she looked like she got something." So when you said that you look like you really are your father's son. It's so funny to hear you kind of say that at this age or at this point in time in your life, because you really sound like your dad. So that is some funny stuff. With that being said, let me transition to another thought, or let me transition you guys to another thought. When you talk about the hardships, we deal with hardships, we dealt with you all from a marital perspective. What are some of the pros and cons that you are uh, that come with pacing yourself from the journey of dating to marriage? So some of you are still in that journey. Some of you all have completed that journey where now you're in the marital phase. But what do you all feel are some of the pros and cons for waiting or pacing yourself?
I'll say a con for me. Um, as I'm taking my time, I feel like some people they like to rush marriage or
Hmm.
try to. Everybody's getting married, so why aren't you married? Um, Wanting to make sure that the person that you're with, that you're happy, and that you know, taking your time. That I feel like for that con, I would just feel like people like to rush, even though marriage is like a beautiful thing.
Hmm.
Some people like to pressure that on other people
Hmm.
who aren't in that position yet.
So that would be a con to you because you feel the pressure of getting married.
Yes.
Hmm. Interesting. What anybody else? What are some of the pros and cons that you face in making this transition from being single to being married in the
Uh,
dating phase?
this is Tanasia.
Hey,
I feel
Tanae.
like one of the pros is that eventually you get what you desire. You know,
Hmm.
I feel like the con to that is sometimes it could take longer than you'd like, and that's something you have to deal with.
Yeah, because the words say, "Don't be anxious for anything," and sometimes we do get out there without proper counsel, proper direction, and we do make a mistake that, to both of you all's point, that we don't need to make, because we didn't seek proper counsel. Anybody else? You talk about pros and cons as to transitioning.
Hi, it's Thoa again. I would say the journey, being young and working, knowing you want to be married and to desire to be married and desire to be a mother. I feel like the journey and all of that, knowing what you like, figuring out what you like, and also growing within yourself as a person as well in a relationship. So you, when it comes to marriage, it won't be as hard as you were when you were dating.
Mhm. So you're
When you
saying that
start
that's pros?
I feel like it's a pro. I feel like the journey is a pro to me. Like the ups and downs, I feel like that's going to happen in life, but how you come together in the end, I think it's beautiful to me.
Mm,
So I feel like the journey from being in a relationship going to the marriage, I feel like it will be worth it with, of course, with time and as the Most High is in it as well.
excellent.
I feel like it will be a beautiful journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's Jalen. I would say a pro is um the obligation to another person. For me, especially me, like being obligated to Kai legally and spiritually was something. It gave me. It's weird to say, but it gave me a different type of purpose. Um, as a wife, and because I've been a daughter, I've been a niece, I've been a cousin, I've been a sister, even a friend, but a wife. That was a different step for me. Like hearing, oh, my wife, my wife, my wife. It was something for me that just and the stability because my husband is a provider, and so the stability of being able to be a mom and in my case be at home with my children and having my husband go out and work and provide and take care of us, it was all worth it. It was worth every minute of it. Like Doa said, the journey, it was worth all of it, the communication, the ups and downs, the learning each other, because in the end we came together, and like I said, we McNailing it. So I really, for me, it is definitely the obligation and the stability.
Yo, Kai, your head should be bigger than your Uncle Sean's belly. I mean, my goodness. Yo, your wife is bigging you up in here, man. All
I
praises to the
love
Most
my
High.
husband. Let me tell
Yes,
you, I
you
am happy where
do.
I am.
All praises. Anybody else want to add when you talk about some of you guys are in the journey? I mean, we got some lot of quiet mics on here for people who are on this stage that are literally in the journey. What are the pros and cons of the journey that you're taking, especially this journey in the truth? We're trying to live for the Most High, but yet desiring marriage, desiring companionship. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so I feel like hey y'all, it's Monty. I feel like I have a different perspective on all of this because I have been in a few, not a lot, but enough relationships to know that I prefer the journey, but it took me a minute to actually be happy with the pacing because in my mind, marriage is something that I desire. It is sometimes a desire I wish I could truthfully turn off. I wish I could just turn it off, but I'm not made that way. But sometimes I do wish I could turn the desire off. But I'm actually happy that I'm in the position that I am. That sometimes I do wonder why it takes long or why I'm not at a certain place because in my mind I thought I would have been married with a few kids at this point, but I'm not. But as of recently, in the recent few years of my life, I have been grateful that I'm not in that position, that I am single because I learn about me more. I learn about what I
Hmm.
like, what I what I want to do. Like I'm at a place where I can be selfish because I never really learned how to be selfish with myself. Because when I'm in a relationship, I do give, I give my all, but I never knew what it was like to just be me, and I not to say that I wasn't me with some of the men that I dated, but the most high wanted me and me alone. And that was such a different journey. Like I knew who I was when I dated somebody, but I never knew who I was when I was by myself, which I feel like I
Hmm.
know more of me now than I did when I was with somebody. And I had the idea of, oh my God, I can still be me with this person. But if God didn't want me to be with nobody, then it wasn't gonna work out, which is why I'm single right now. Because I'm supposed to deal with me. But I'm happy about dealing with me. I'm happy about finding who I am in the most high. I'm happy about, making the journey, you know, one thing that I'm learning is that if it's taking longer, it must gonna be real special for me. And that's just how I try to view it. Like, oh, it's taking some time for me. Must be really special. Must be something really cool. Because there have been dudes that come around, and one thing that I do get is the ick real fast these days. 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy sucks, And I'm like, and I'm thankful for that because I'm not wasting my time. So I've learned to like the slow pacing and appreciate my slow pacing, even
Hmm.
when I didn't like it at first because I didn't. I was just like, this is what I desire. Why do I have to wait so long? But now I'm like, oh great, I get to wait because it's just me and I ain't got to worry about nobody but me. So that's just my perspective.
All praises.
It's Gene again. Um, I feel like for me, it's a pro for me because I'm still getting myself together.
Hmm.
Whoever, so
Powerful.
as a man, I'm still getting myself together. Like I'm still at home. So however long the most time wants me to wait for, then I'm gonna just wait. But until then, I'm gonna just keep myself getting together, not just financially, but spiritually as well. Because I want to be able to do what my dad does, like from my household. So however the most time wants me to wait, I'm gonna wait. But I think it's a pro for me that I'm still waiting and just keep going on myself. What Monty just said. So I'll leave it at that.
It's me again.
Hmm.
That leads me into a con. Um, Speaking exactly from what Monty just said, I deal with this exact thing. Um, I definitely didn't know nothing about myself because if anybody knew me back when I got married, they would probably say I had no business getting married because I knew nothing about Jalen at all. I still probably don't. I just learned to go with the flow at this point, but you really don't, especially when you have kids.
So Jalen just out here making it up as she
I'm just
go.
not a step by step. Um, it not knowing it, I really don't know a lot about myself, especially after I had them babies. Oh my gosh, I thought if I thought I was
Mm.
lost, I really got lost. Like I gained weight and, oh, but. knowing what you like and who you are as a person, because it's hard for you to change. I'm sorry, it's easy for you to change and go with the flow when you're single by yourself. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can't do this. I want to do that. I don't want to do that. When you're married, it's not like that. Like, you have to think about what's best for your husband, and what's best for, if you have children, what's best for your children, to keep the whole dynamic going. And so a lot of times you can kind of just be in the back figuring things out as you go. I tell my husband all the time, sometimes I feel like I'm there for everybody, but nobody's here for me. With my kids and him being at work, and I'm always by myself at home. But I felt like, had I knew a lot more about myself and what I like to do, um,
Mhm.
then maybe I would have been a lot more happier in the beginning years of my marriage. I'm just now starting to learn a lot about myself, and the things I'm getting into out in the world. But yes, definitely getting to know who you are and what you're like, and if you're willing to compromise that for marriage is very important, because once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. Anyone else? When you talk about the pros and cons, dating, and getting to the marital aspect. Anybody else got a unique perspective to offer? Okay. How about we take it a step further then? When you talk about how the pros and cons of waiting, etc. How do you get on the same page about your beliefs and lifestyle in Christ with someone that you're dating?
Can you repeat that again?
Okay. You guys, we talked about the pros and the cons. And I definitely want to get into this because a couple of you mentioned the aspect of background, and you guys dealt with background from two different perspectives. When you talk about the pros and cons, how did you get on the same page, or how do you get on the same page? For the married couples, how did you get on the same page? And for those who are single, how do you get on the same page about your beliefs and lifestyles with somebody that you're with in Christ?
This is Nasia.
Hey,
For
Nasia.
for me and Q, it was pretty easy because his dad and his family is in the truth already, and we knew that going in, when we started dating each other and everything.
Shout out to my man Broderick. Broderick.
So it was pretty easy for us. Not saying we didn't have hardships around our journey and our spiritual journey together, but it was, I could say, it's easier than it would be if he was kind of like didn't know nothing, and that was something I prayed for. Cause I'm sure everybody kind of knows what they're capable of, and like taking on that project seemed like it would be hard for me. So when I was praying for my husband, I asked that at least let him be aware or know, even though a little bit, to where it wouldn't be as hard for me to explain. And that's kind of what I got. Cause when I met him, and then he told me like his belief system, and I was like, "Oh, this can't be real because it's the same thing. We believe the same thing."
Hmm. Anyone else? We a little shy on the topic, on this topic. I'm surprised y'all not popping up like popcorn on this topic. We talking about dating. So it says, uh, what are some of the things that, how do you all get on the same page, whether you are married or whether you're single and you're transitioning towards marriage? How do you all get on the same page during the dating process? Or maybe some of you are not dating, and so that process is not being played out.
I think that way back when me and Jalen were still dating,
Say way back
and
when,
way back when, yeah,
before
because
after 1953, though, right?
during
Back in
during the,
time,
during the,
way
during the
back.
pandemic,
Yeah.
no, during the Great Depression.
Right.
I think Jalen that popped the question to me, just in conversation, like how did I feel, like like what are my thoughts around the Most High, right? and I kind of gave it to her from what I understood at the time. Me being 21, and if I'm not mistaken, my answer was more so along the lines of like, I don't really care for organized religion. I
Mm-hmm.
believe what's in the Bible. I believe
Mm-hmm.
in the Most High. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I had even gone to Catholic school for years and years, and there was just things that I didn't have answers to or I couldn't understand, and even like in hindsight, like whenever you in a Catholic church, you have no idea what's going on.
They had no idea.
It's
They
just
had no idea.
it's
They,
just a whole
they
bunch of noises,
Catholics hate the Bible.
right?
And I
But
said it. I don't care. I said it. Yehukanan ben Yah. I said it. Yeah, come for me, please. Amen. Go ahead, Kyle.
no, but yeah, she popped the
Liars.
question to me, and that was my like. I don't really care for an organized religion. I grew up in it. It's what my parents believe or my mom and them believe, and some of my family believe, but
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't follow it. So, I felt like I should have a personal relationship with the Most High, and that's just kind of where it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
from there, she basically just told me straight up, like, you know, we're the people, we're the chosen people from the Bible. We're the Israelites. Jesus Christ was black, like, and we start going down the rabbit hole. And there are some things that I already heard before, but I never like dove into it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I had already believed. I just had a conscious belief,
Get in the
me
book.
thinking that Jesus Christ was black. But I had no proof behind it. It's just me believing that. You know what I mean? Just off the strength. But once you actually break it down and you go like further into once you realize, okay, there was a we're cursed as a people with the 400 years of slavery, and then when you go back to Moses' time in Egypt, and like once I started like really like breaking it down from a historical aspect, that's when I feel like my faith started growing more and more. So we would be watching like YouTube videos for hours or we watching Mike Malice or the Truth Unedited, and just learning more
Mm-hmm.
really got me into it. Because I guess once I realized, like, I already kind of knew, I'm like, okay, I understand that I'm constantly being lied to when it comes to the Bible and what I'm being taught currently. I understand that there's deception there because there's pictures of white Jesus everywhere you go, right? And there's no way he was white. I mean, he might, in my
And
head, you know,
and he kept look,
geographically, he
and he
couldn't have
kept
been
looking
white,
at her. And he kept looking at us.
right?
Yeah, that picture of the white Jesus eyes following you. He keep looking at me. White Jesus. Go ahead.
But yeah, and as you could just break it down and you realize like how far are you going or how long are you going to allow yourself to be lied to before you seek the truth. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where I stood on it. And then every once it the faith aspect of it aligned perfectly with the history aspect of it, I was all in. So, I read Leviticus 11. I think we discussed it last time. I read Leviticus 11. I'm like, no way this is in the Bible. I've never heard of this book ever. I've never heard of
Mm-hmm.
this chapter ever. Nobody's ever explained it to me. Nobody's ever debunked it. Nothing. And you try to debunk it, and it's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
But um, I think that's just kind of where our faith began together, and it would just be small inklings of the time that we spend together, and we'll just be like, let's throw on a Mike Malice video, or let's throw on some something to grow our faith a little bit more. We start praying for each other, and there might be things that we were dealing with at a time, and we gotta help each other get through that. But um that's kind of where we got to level ground on our faith because I started as a person that was not in the truth and came into the truth. So I
Right.
don't know if Jalen has a background on it. Do you remember how it went?
I do. I was on Uncle Gene and Aunt Cheryl's patio talking to you, and I asked you, did you believe in God? And you said you believed in him, but you didn't have a relationship with him.
Mm.
You was like, I prayed to him, but I don't think I'm getting any answers. That's what you said. But yeah. And then everything else that he said, I just started laying it on him because we was learning at the time too. When I was telling them we weren't as deep as we are right now, so I only told him what we knew, and it sounded right to him. He stopped eating pork. He started celebrating the feast days. You know, I would tell him, "Oh, we're doing this feast day. I know you're not here, but this feast day is coming up," and he would do his best to participate in any way that he could.
Mhm.
And then yeah, so that's how we did it. Just introduced it to him. He tried it out, and here he is 5 years later.
All praises. What about the rest of you? You got some of you that are on here that are either in the process of dating towards marriage. What? How does that look? How does that work for you, as far as your beliefs and that in the dating process?
What was the question again?
How do you get on the same page? How did you, if you are married, or how do you, if you're single, get on the same page about your beliefs and lifestyle in Christ?
I think the way you kind of present it and you take the time to teach and nurture that person, and understand like, okay, this is where that person is at, and you know, I think I think like you said, like have your words seasoned with grace, and how are you, delivering it and taking that time. It is a process of having long suffering and patience and understanding. Okay, am I willing to teach this person? Am I willing to, understand them here and pray for them in that way and in that sense? That's my mindset, and that's kind of the thing. Take time, take baby steps. Like it says, feed them milk instead of meat. Okay, ask some questions. Okay, where's your mind about this? Okay, remember that. Okay, I'm not gonna go here with them today because I see where they're at. Baby steps, walk with them. If they ask, see where their mind's at. That's how I feel like if that's the way, in my experience of how I did it. Okay, this is where that person's at. Okay, this is where you're at. Okay, cool. I'm a walk with you until we get here, and then ask them, are you willing to walk with me until we get here? Cool, And I'm gonna tell them it's gonna be a little push and pull. It might be a little tough, but if you're willing, we can get here.
Mhm.
I agree with Sean on that. I feel like for me, when it comes to like different, as long as like the other person, as long as the other person knows of Yah and believes in God, I feel like that's the first step in everything.
Mm.
I'm not going to knock you down just because you're not in the truth as me, because I was once not in the truth. I was a Christian. That's what I grew up in. But thank the Most High that I'm in the truth now. I praise Him for that. But I'm not going to knock someone down just because they don't know everything. That's when the patience come in, the love, what Sean was saying, just the love and patience, and for them willing to. Now, if they're not willing, that's a different story. Go the
Mm.
other way. But if they're willing to, I feel like that's a first step in a lot. I'm not going to knock you down because you're not where I'm at. Because who am I to do that? What type of person would that make me? No, I'm going to extend it. I'll pray for you. I'll bring you to my dad. Let my dad speak some things to you, because that's what he does with my boyfriend now. I feel like it's about love and patience and kindness when it comes to someone who's not in the truth but does believe in God and knows the Most High, but not as deep as you do.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I agree with what Sean said.
All praises. Any other input? Any other counsel, wisdom? You guys are speaking to your group, your generation. When you talk about this transition from, fleeing youthful lust to actually making a transition to building what the Most High said build. When you talk about marriage and family, anybody else? Well, if you guys are finished on that point, there was a couple things that you guys said a while ago that I just wanted to see if we could possibly revisit. If not, we can definitely go ahead and begin to wrap up. But a couple things that I heard in this were background and communication. Some coming from a background of, I had a single mom growing up, and so I was very independent as it pertains to receiving that love and that attention from my husband, or allowing my husband to lead, because the only thing I ever saw was a woman lead. Or when you talk about the background of, I had a mother who was yielding, submitted, and now I run into men who don't know how to treat me like I saw my mother treated. Would anybody care to talk about that or expound on that even more as it pertains to how serious background is during the dating process?
Um,
Um,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Bree. Ladies first.
I feel like background is very, very, very important, especially if whoever you're with or getting to know, they grew up in trauma, or if they have unresolved trauma, because a lot of the times those things that they haven't forgiven or healed from those situations, they can sneak up into your relationship, and then you'll be dealing with hardships like that with that situation. I feel like I just lost train of thought that fast. My brother just came in here. Um, yeah, I lost train of thought. He would make me lose my thought. But I feel like people that deal with trauma or some sort of their background. I lost train of thought. Sorry.
Yeah, you're talking about something very well, Brianna, because trauma do play a part. A lot of us bring baggage, background, abusive past, abusive history. A lot of that does play a role in our approach to relationships, etc. I know that my son had said something about being willing to be vulnerable, where you share some of that or that side, whether it's your goal, your ambitions, your vision, those things that are very for lack of a better term, very near and dear to you, to be vulnerable, especially from a male standpoint, to be vulnerable to a woman, to share that with her and come out from behind our mask as men. That is a scary thing, a scary proposition. I know that it was something that was a challenge for me. um, I'm assuming that it's still a challenge for a lot of men even now when you talk about being vulnerable to a woman. Anybody care to talk about it?
It's Gene again.
Hey,
Even
Gene.
though, even though, I see a lot of people go through that. I have some friends that went through that. Um, there was this. I know how like a man opens up to their lady about how they're struggling and everything, and then they just turn around on them and just laugh in their face or something like that, or bring it up in an argument, which is when it's kind of not good if you are in a couple or in a married couple. Because I had like a lot of friends that went through that type of stage. Um, yeah, I don't wish that I'm part of nobody, because there's a lot of men nowadays that don't open up to women at all, because it's a fear of that, how it can be played in their face.
Mm,
However, the conversation is going about. So yeah, it's just a fear that in 2025 of men not open up, and that's how like all women nowadays are getting really upset how their husband or boyfriend are not open up to them and letting them know what's really going on with them. So
mm.
I leave it at that.
So to that point, when you talk about background and as it pertains to being young and in the truth, how do you feel like your relationship with the Most High has helped overcome some of these challenges that you guys face during the dating process as it pertains to dealing with different backgrounds, whether it's your own personal background or whether it's the background of the person that you are in the dating process with?
I think I can't remember the scripture exactly, but it talks about that who is more spiritual restored. That one.
Such a one with the spirit of meekness. I think Galatians,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I think 4:1, something like that.
Yes, sir.
You in Galatians though. Go ahead.
And like he said, I think it's really taking that time because you like I'm not saying you put up with anything and everything, but in a situation, nothing's gonna be as perfect. But in a sense, you kind of when you're compatible to somebody, or when somebody, like you said, when you're supposed to be with somebody, things will kind of fit. You even out that person in a sense. You help that person in a way for like where she may deal with anxiety and he may be calm. You feel me? So
Mhm.
like you said, learning that background. Okay, this is how you grew up. Okay, this is how you was raised. Well, this is how I'm raised, and you kind of learn how to come to a mutual agreement. you kind of have to understand and take that time to really ask those questions and to really walk out and see what that person's background is, because you don't want to just go in and just assume. So that's why it's good to ask and to good to just see and be patient, because like you be a strength to their weakness, because you'll see, like you said, a lot of we're at the end of the day, we're still a product of our environments, in some shape or form. How we grew up, who we grew up around, it molded us into who we are. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes negative, but positive. They're either or. You feel me? And I think it's so important to really understand that. And the Bible has a way. The Bible is the answer, literally the answer to all things, and it will show you how to kind of guide and to learn somebody and to just you know hear them out and understand them. But for me, that's really what it is to ask questions, be slow to speak, you know, be slow to speak, first quick to hear and then slow to speak, to really get an understanding of what they're saying and how this affects them and how that affects them, you know. That's really important. The importance of knowing somebody, getting to know somebody's background.
Mm-hmm. All praises. Anybody else when you talk about background and in context to your journey in the Most High through the dating process?
Um, I would say for me, having it let having a relationship with the father while I was dating really let me know that generational curses had no place for me, because judging off of the way that I was raised, even with my mom being married, it was more so who she was married to. My aunt Tamika even told me, I don't remember verbatim, but I got the basis of it. She said that she sees children, even young adults, every day that grew up the way I did and worse. And she says, statistically, I should not be where I am.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Mm-hmm.
and That let me know right there that, and my uncle Gene had said something to me this past Shabbat lesson where he looked over to me when you were talking about that scripture where he said, before he formed you in the womb, he knew you, and he knew my story before it was even my story. But yet I still surround myself by him and his word, and
Mm-hmm.
having that relationship with him is why I am where I am right now. And that no matter what my dad dealt with or went through, or my mom, or my genetics, or what I inherited, or any of that, the
Mm-hmm.
Most High said the last has the last say, and not what statistically should have been my path. And so that having that relationship with him is why I consider my life to be way better than it would have been had I not had him.
Man, you got Uncle Sean about to be emotional up in here, man. Yeah, that's your background cannot dictate where you end up at. I agree.
Yes, sir.
Sister Tasha says maturity. Sisters, this to the sisters. If she yelled at if at you guys. I'm playing. A man lets you in his most intimate parts, mind, heart, emotions, trauma, secrets. Hold near and dear and never betray him. Because if you lose his trust, you will never get it back. Any thoughts to what Sister Tasha has put out? Because I think it was Sean that talked about being willing to be vulnerable and to get it. I will say this: when you get a man to open up to you, that is a very serious thing, because if we can get to you guys without opening up, then we feel safe and we'll play you. But if you get us to tell you everything and get everything out of us and be open or quote unquote intimate with you in that way, you really got something there, because we men don't like to be that vulnerable. Anybody care to speak to what Sister Tasha has put up? It says sisters if. I guess Cheryl's agreeing. She's saying facts. None of you young ladies care to
I
speak to that?
I, I had to ask my husband first.
No, I ain't
before I
saying
put before I
share his
put it out
personal
there.
business. I'm not saying share his personal business. I'm saying, what does that do? You understand what that means or how important that is? Because what we're talking about is some next level stuff that she's talking about. When you talk about really truly being a rib for a man, protecting him, digging deeper with him, being that helpmeet with him. What I mean, how do you all think about that? I mean, how do you all feel about that statement she made?
I 100% agree with that. Um, I knew when my husband was letting me into those places, which I didn't know that I wasn't in those places until I was.
Oh no, you don't get in there.
Yeah, no. No. I
I love
didn't
my wife,
know.
but she didn't jump in them places quickly either.
No, I did not. And I
Yeah.
thought like, oh yeah, I know my husband. No, I did not. There was some
Mm-mm.
things that I didn't even know he was feeling or thinking, or I thought I knew it all. But when he opened up the door and let me into those places, it is so important to respect that and honor that, because like I said, I thought I was there already. I thought that
Mhm.
I was comfortable. I thought he was comfortable, but I noticed the difference. Look, she called it right before I said it. Yes, ma'am, there is a difference. I caught the difference immediately. And
Mhm.
I was like, oh, okay, then we're in a different place. We're in a different area. And I asked the father, not like out loud, but over the course of time, like, how do I respect this? Because I cannot, if I lose this, then I've lost my husband.
Mhm.
And the Most High has definitely been navigating me with the things that my husband opens up about, not even just verbally, but just in his everyday movements. You
Yeah.
can tell when you've gotten into that place where your husband is comfortable with you, your husband trusts you, your husband knows that what or your wife reveals to you, um it's sacred. And so when they let you into those spots, the Most High has definitely been guiding me through that, and that is definitely important, because once you get to that place, it all comes to a head. You kind of really feel that breath of fresh air, like, oh, okay, I'm really close with this. We are literally becoming one. Like,
Mm.
we have our own personal things, but there's nothing that you will keep from me, that you won't keep nothing from me because you think I can't help, or you think I'll
Mhm.
judge, or you think I'll hurt you, or you think I'll make fun of you, or if we get in disagreement, I'll throw it in your face. No, it doesn't come from that. But we can build from that. I can learn from those, experience, or verbally or non-verbally, that he has, and be able to walk with him, not against him. So yes, I agree.
Mhm.
It's Nasia. Just piggyback off what Jalen was saying.
No, we laying back over here.
Well, it's definitely a deeper connection you have with your spouse when when y'all get to a place where he could cry in front of you and tell you what his problem is, and don't feel like he
Mhm.
gotta hide it and keep it inside, and
Mhm.
trust you to give him advice to bring him out of wherever he's in. And when, like she said, once you get there with your significant other, it is a special place. And I will not disrespect it. I won't tell nobody his business or anything like that, because you trusted me with something that's very important to you, that like you said, a lot of men don't do that. And so I agree with what she was saying.
Mhm. Anyone else? Cause
Um,
yeah, go
I have,
ahead.
I have a point. I say that that is for anybody, and this don't just apply to just men or women. But I feel like that is a great place to get with somebody you're with. But at the same time, it also could be a tough place to carry somebody like that, especially if they don't heal. If they're not healing, if they are healing, I think that is a good place to be in with your partner. But if that person is not healing, it could feel like a burden, because if you are a safe space to them, if you were only ever the first safe space that they had, sometimes they may fear losing you. And so they're focused on fearing, the fear of losing you outweighs them actually healing. So
Powerful.
that also puts a weight on you, the person that's carrying that, because you do care about this person so much, but you never want to say something like, "Hey, this is a lot. How are you actually doing? Are you actually healing from this? Because I don't mind being this safe space for you. I don't mind showing you this love. But if I'm only the ever good thing that's happened to you, you have to understand that healing and being whole is just as important as valuing me in the safe space that I've created for you. So
Mhm.
I think that's something to consider, is if you're going to have somebody and be and allow somebody in, you need to make sure you're ready to heal from all the trauma that you have, so you're not, you know, frustrating the help and making things more of a burden rather than something that's being uplifted from you.
Hmm. To the point of that, I'm glad you went there and you said what you said, Imani, because you're very true. The reason why it's such an emphasis on what Sister Tasha is talking about with men is because we as men, from a societal standpoint, from a social emotional standpoint, we are not encouraged to be open with our feelings. That's always been considered from tradition even to today. You see a man that is sensitive and open emotionally, we call them simps, we call them soft. It was looked at as punks. Sometimes you were even looked at as effeminate for being emotional. And so I, I say, I was one point in my life I was told I was acting like a faggot because I cried, for being yelled at as a kid. So yeah, you were told to squash your feelings, and so I think that's where that's coming from. Where it's not the fact that we as men are not taught, or we're always privy to the fact that you guys are emotional, but when a man is emotional, we're supposed to sit. And so when you see those explosive outbursts, especially with men, it comes out destructive, because you'll have men that will unalive you, himself, and the dog, and the dog ain't got nothing to do with it. But that's because when it comes out real explosive. Where I think when a woman goes to that explosive place, it still comes out measured, controlled, calculating, and you don't even see it coming. But that's the difference. You guys are encouraged to be emotionally expressive, whereas men tend to not be encouraged in that way. Um, Anybody else would like to add to that when you talk about that, especially as we spill over into the communication aspect of the relationship, not only in communicating with each other, but also communicating in a godly way, in a godly manner, especially when you have those moments where you're not seeing eye to eye, you're disagreeing. What are your guys' thoughts on that? And that'd be my last question for tonight. I want you guys' feedback as far as dealing with communication issues in the dating process, in the relationship, but yet still remaining godly in your communications.
Um, I would say in the dating process, which I didn't do, but I'm pretty sure it would have been better for me when I did dating, is it's okay to, oh, okay, we're not coming to an agreement. Let's drop it and come back to it later. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to do that, because in the moment, I know all the time I felt like, no, what's the point of bringing it up later? If we're mad about it now, we're going to be mad about it then. Like, there's no point in bringing it up later. I just could not see what benefit that was. But now that I'm married, my husband did it to me recently, and that's when I finally was like, oh, this works. We got in a little disagreement about washing clothes, where we wanted to wash clothes at, because our washer and dryer wasn't working properly. And
Mm-hmm.
he walked out the room and was like, I'm going to talk about this later. He said, because I'm getting upset, and we should not be getting upset over clothes. And I was sitting on the floor boiling. Like, I was so mad. I wanted to say the most awful things, because he walked away and I couldn't keep talking, or else I'd be talking to myself. And I didn't want to be foolish. So I just be quiet. And it was like 5, maybe 10 minutes. When he came back in the room, I just said, I'm sorry. And I just gave him a hug and I said, you know what, we're gonna do it your way. Cause I like that way. We'll get it done faster. And I was genuinely ready to just get it over with. I didn't care if it was my way or his way. I just wanted it done. But being
Mm-hmm.
able to walk away from it for a second leaves you with your thoughts. You kind of think about what you might say or how you might say it, or think about what you've already said that didn't
Mm-hmm.
benefit the conversation in the moment, and
Mm-hmm.
how to handle it. So I would say one of the skills you could use during a com- um, conversations or communication that is for negatively is to just walk away. Sometimes, depending on how bad it is, it doesn't need to be revisited. But depending on the situation, if there has to be an answer, an agreement at the end, just walk away and come back.
Mm-hmm. Tasha says to the married women, Sirach, which is Ecclesiasticus also, 20, 26 to 26, a woman that honored her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonored him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. So when you talk about this, and you guys are talking about communication and how, godly communication or godly ways of communication in the marriage, Jalen brought up a very key point: being able in the moment to walk away, which is something I even still struggle with. But it's a tough thing in that moment to walk away from a discussion, to walk away from something that may not be fruitful. Took me years to learn it, and I'm still learning it, still being perfected in that area. What are you guys' thoughts when you talk about dating or being married and dealing with a communication issue or a problem?
It's Nasia. My thing was it matters how you talk to each other. I can't stress
Mm.
that enough. It matters how you speak to your partner. If you're dating, you're married. It matters how y'all speak to each other. Because when you start, one person gets disrespectful, it takes a lot for the other person that you disrespected to just shut up and not say nothing back.
Hmm.
Which I've learned. I've had to learn to shut up a lot because sometimes I'm trying to speak out of an emotion and I'm not being polite about it. But I had told Q we was arguing this one time. We wasn't arguing. I was actually doing the opposite, and he said, "What's wrong with you? Usually you'll say something back to me." I said, "I have to think. If you the man the Most High sent for me, why would I disrespect you? Why would I disrespect what the Most High gave to me?" So that's when y'all communicate, it matters how we speak to each other.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sister Tasha put in the chat again, Ecclesiasticus Sirach 36:24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest, or a place that is peace. I agree with you, Cheryl, with that with Nasia. That was perfect. Perfect. The- she swallowed her words and it's like, listen, if I'm not gonna say something nice in this moment, I'm not going to say it at all because I'm not going to disrespect myself or my husband. I appreciate that. Anyone else? The wise wisdom and wise counsel. We're talking about dating in the truth from you all's perspective.
I just want to say, circling back to the whole healing thing,
Oh,
yes,
that's big. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing that back out, Monty. Go ahead.
make sure you're healing while being open with your partner. Everybody needs, if you're going to be with somebody long term, please be open, but also make sure you're healing. And that's the main point that I'm making, is that it is a beautiful thing to be open to your partner, especially when you're a man. But for both parties, it does no good if you're just trauma dumping and not refilling it, because sometimes when you trauma dump, you're taking out everything that's in you, but you got to make sure you're refilling it with something that's good, because
Mhm.
if you refill it, if you keep emptying it out and you're not refilling it with something positive and good, you're just gonna have a recurring theme, and then your part certain thing your partner does is gonna remind you of the past or something that happened to them. And that's why even when you're dating, especially in your marriage, it is important to make sure that while you're learning to be open and communicative with your partner, is that you're also taking the responsibility for yourself too, to heal, to be like, okay, my partner keeps saying this about me, maybe I need to go back and look and see why that is. Okay, that's why this happened. So what can I do differently? And then
Mhm.
that way it's a continuous growth for you and the person you're with. You're still healing, but the person you're with also can see your growth and can see that you've become better, and then you yourself can see that you're becoming better as well. So I think communication and comprehension overall is important in a relationship, no matter what.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that because we do tend to, as Moray taught a while ago, we build those altars and we hang on to our right to be a victim and we become comfortable with our victimhood. And so we carry that in our relationships, or we carry that through the dating process. When, to your point, if we let that thing go, actually forgive, and actually move forward with putting ourselves, or putting something more beneficial or fruitful in ourselves, that would be something that's empowering, etc. And so, excellent insight, excellent output. I will leave you all with this last thought. Cheryl said it. When you disrespect your husband, you disrespect yourself. And I would speak for the man standpoint. When you disrespect your wife, you disrespect yourself. I would like to reference, I think it's Ephesians 5th chapter, where it talks about, well, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. And so there's a willingness that we as men are to die. That means that sometimes we got to die to our right to be, right in the argument, right in the situation, right in the disagreement. And we need to come into the relationship with that understanding. I come to not only provide direction, leadership, and vision, but I also come with the mindset of to give my life, or to sacrifice the needs of the one that I'm seeking, that I'm finding. My needs come after her needs. Her needs come first, etc. And the Bible says for the wives to love, to submit to your own husbands. It doesn't tell the wife to love the husband, because her submission is her act of love. The moment that that wife hears your vision, the moment that that wife learns of who you are in the Most High, is the moment that that woman begins to now see the idea of being with you and submitting to you. But if we as men never present a thing for her to help, yield, and submit to, then what is she really being called to submit to? And so, with that being said, we won't get into it even more. We'll get into it even more tomorrow when we take a deeper look, where the brothers and hopefully a couple sisters will come on stage with us tomorrow, where we will talk about, tell me, have you seen them? Are there any good men out there? And taking a deeper look. Also, guys are looking forward to our Shabbat class. I cannot remember the title of the lesson that's coming up on Shabbat class, but please join us at noon. It is a heck of a lesson that's dealing with the symbolisms in Genesis. So if you really want some true in-depth understanding of Genesis, I know my brother hate when I do that. It feels like I'm hyping it up, but I'm not hyping it up. There's some stuff that he's going to really talk about in the book of Genesis that is going to be very powerful, very eye-opening, very life-changing. So really come with a receiving heart, a receiving mind, to really hear this understanding and this revelation. So tomorrow we have taken a deeper look, where we're going to deal with things from a male standpoint. Are there any good men out there? Tell me, have you seen them? And also our Shabbat class at noon, dealing with the Garden of Eden, the symbolisms and things in the Garden of Eden, etc. Once again, thank you, young people. I applaud you for your transparency, your openness, and talking about the dating process. Do you guys, is there anybody that have any final words? Anything that you guys would like to say before we wrap up? Guys, shalom, goodbye, anything? I heard somebody breathe on the mic. If it's just to say bye.
Yeah, I would like to say all praises to our King. Hearing the panel, from different perspectives, I can still take into my marriage. So all praises to him and to all of us walking with him and learning his word, his way. And good night, family.
Good night. Anyone else?
Yes, all praises to y'all. Felt good hearing everybody's voices and opinions. Um, yeah, good night, y'all.
All praises.
I want to say I love everybody's responses and how everybody put things together. All praises to the King. Good night, y'all.
All praises. With that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you again, young people, for stepping out and being a leadership. Remember, this is the Young and the Fearless podcast. Not they got next, but they are next. And they're here and they're stepping up, trying to be a lamp and a light during the time where there's a lot of darkness. We appreciate their feedback. We appreciate their vulnerability. We appreciate their input. Hopefully, for those that will come by and hear this, like, share, subscribe, and reach out to any of these young people if you get in contact with them, if you need any additional feedback and advice. Again, my name is Yehukanan Ben Yah, and this is the Young and the Fearless podcast. Shalom, family. We love you.
Bye, family. Love you.